Are all safe and sound. My name is Atul Govil and I work for India Glycols and I'm part of the Executive Council for CIOs of India. Welcome you all to this exclusive Gyan Hub session, which is by and for the CIOs. Herein, we don't talk about any theoretical stuff. We cover what exactly CIOs would have done on the ground. They will share their experiences, practical experiences on driving digital initiatives in their respective enterprise. And I hope that each one of us can take home at least one implementable idea from the session, and it will be a great payoff for the time we spend today. Today, we have Sanjeev Kumar Jain, a dear friend of many of us present today, and he is a group CIO of Krishna Group to share his and his team's experience on digital interventions made in the Krishna Group. And just to make it a little more interesting, I just want to highlight that for a change, normally we don't have it in a Gyan Hub. Considering today being a Friday, a weekend evening, we have some attractive prizes which are to be won in the form of Amazon gift vouchers. We have to win it. So there'll be some kind of quiz or which maybe Kamal will talk about. Those are there for you to win. And just to before we start the session, along with Sanjeev, I just wanted to share that considering the recent spate of ransomware attacks which we are facing, we are every day we are seeing it in the newspapers that some or the other large companies are getting compromised. We have a brief on key techniques, tools which we can deploy in our enterprises to safeguard our enterprises from such attacks. And for this, we have requested Sophos leadership team to provide us a brief on this critical topic. I would request Kamal Karnatak to give a warm welcome to the CIOs, to the participants. Over to you, Kamal.
Yeah, so good evening, friends. So today we are doing our Gyan Hub session. So Gyan Hub is one of the unique tradition of CIOs of India where one of the CIOs shares his or her experience with fellow CIOs, where he shares what he has done over last few decades or last few years. So we are doing Gyan Hub sessions with various companies. Today's session is also powered by Sophos. So we are also doing ransomware protection session on that. To tell more about that, I will bring Naresh Pathak into the frame so that he can tell more about today's session, and then he can also share his views about CIOs of India. Over to Naresh.
Good evening, everybody. Namaskar to all. So, as Kamal has briefed about this Gyan Hub session, so the Gyan Hub this is the very oldest tradition what we have been organizing with different organizations so far. We have already done this with the Hero MotoCorp, Mother Dairy, Radico Khaitan, India Glycols, and so many other companies. So in continue to that tradition, today we have organized this with the Krishna Maruti Group, and this will continue. So I'm sure that you'll enjoy the session today. Welcome all. I'll pass on to Mr. Atul.
Thanks, Naresh, and thanks, Kamal, for the welcome. I would I would request now Sunil Sharma ji from Sophos to give a brief about ransomware protection and tools, techniques which CIOs can deploy in their respective enterprises to safeguard their interests. Over to you, Sunil. You can unmute yourself, please. Sunil?
Sorry, thank you. Thanks a lot, Atul. Thank you, everyone. I think Dr. Kamal and Naresh and all dear friends of mine. I think I'm not new to all of you. It's just like pandemic days where we are not able to meet up. Otherwise, every year we used to be there at one location, and that was fabulous to have you. I mean, being your host. I was truly, I still missing those days. So thank you very much for inviting us for this Gyan Club session. Our subject is rising to the challenge. First of all, I want to tell you that we are going to cover it up very fast. I think there are two sections which we are going to cover up. I have my colleagues, Ravi Bhaviskar, who is Director Pre-Sales. He's going to cover up about the solutions part of it. I'm just going to cover up some challenges, what we are exactly facing. I also have my Zonal Manager, Naveen, and I have, our Marketing Manager, Mehul also. Naveen is our Zonal Manager for the entire North India. So I'm sure that any kind of queries after once the session is over, if you would like to get in touch with a person, the responsible manager. So Naveen Grover is there. He's going to share the his contact number, his email ID very recently on the chat also. So thank you very much. All the CIOs, first of all, thank you very much. I tell you where this coming in. This is coming in that everyone has celebrated that what forces have done, what hospital staff have done, what the other people have done to the society. But I would like to thank you, the entire CIO community here, who actually made this work from home happen. Truly, truly, I personally believe that I'm not saying that they are not corona warriors, but I personally feel that there is one community which is being left out and not being thanked truly is something which is CIO community. And I would like to thank on behalf of the entire IT community that thank you very much. You were the saviors when suddenly the lockdown announced, and I could see that each one of the CIO had tremendous amount of pressure and the stress what they went through. And I'm also aware of one of the IT head of TCS, what happened to him. I'm sure all of you are, but believe me, all of you took that pressure, took that stress, and really passed the acid test, made possible that each one of us could able to work from home. So thank you very much. Could able to take care of entire stuff and VPN and connectivity and so many things, which you organized. I know you went through a lot of stress. So thank you very much. There is one game which just now is out of the market, which is called PUBG, and I'm sure everyone is aware of. So PUBG is players under battleground, and similarly I say that there is another CUBG, CUBG, which is cyber under battleground, and you people are the hero for that. Actually, that playground is something which is on, and challenges are rising. I still remember one of the story which I have a habit of starting with a small story. One of the small young child who was actually trying to learn cricket, and he had a passion for cricket. And look at that child. His father was a watchman, and he was a watchman actually, and his mother was a nurse. Not enough money so that his family could afford to train him on cricket. Rather, good families also really decide whether they need to train their child for cricket or not. But this guy was so passionate that no, I have to go into the cricket. And look at the tragedy. Watchman, how much salary a watchman earns, and watchman wanted his son to be an army man because they look up to that dress. So that was the one of the attraction which this child father had. But unfortunately, at the age of 17, when this guy was getting selected for under 19 kind of a team, his mother passed away. And that was like, his mother was all support for him. Really, truly, truly, there was one backbone for this guy was only his mother actually. And she passed away just at the age of 17 when, sometimes when the life has to give you adversities, like today, all of us are passing through that pandemic period, COVID period, and we are facing tremendous amount of challenges. But when life has to give you challenges, that's all it happens, that everything comes together. It does not come in sequence. And that's exactly happened to this person. But look at what happens. When you have adversities, there are people who are actually being told, being talked about as stories, are the people who turn this adversity into greatness. And that's exactly this, this person did. And his name was Ravindra Jadeja. And this guy got selected 1 under 19 under the captainship of Virat Kohli, and how what kind of career he made after that. So where I'm coming from is that you as warriors, corona warriors from different perspective, have actually proved to the world that work from home is as much as possible as we were working from office. And everyone is talking about that today's cyber threats are happening because of that malware, because of that botnet, because of that code. But our own engineer, Sophos rapid response engineer Peter McKenzie says, my dear friends, you can fight with the codes, but you are not just fighting with the codes, you are fighting with people. And let me tell you, the most dangerous species and the most and the best species in the world, if you look at, is human being. Actually, both in both respect, actually, when they start working in negative direction, then also it's people. When they start working in positive direction, then also it's people. So people think, well, I have the anti malware for that particular kind of Maze ransomware or maybe Dharma ransomware, but they don't know that there are so many which are being launched every day, every second, and this is like happening. You look at, ransomware attacks, and look at this movie which is Sixth Sense, and child says that I see ghost everywhere. In my opinion, today we are able to see ransomware everywhere, my dear friends, everywhere actually. And this is like, you look at the attacks, various attacks which are happening. I am not here to threat you. I think but these slides, I want to be very, very clear. These slides are supposed to be taken as a content to be presented to your, so-called CEOs and the directors there, and to be presented in a way, in a positive way, that this is how the market is running today. You have good, Haldiram kind of, chain, they get attacked, and there is a ransomware demand of almost $750,000. Similarly, companies like Cognizant again gets attacked by Maze ransomware. And if you look at India statistics, we got this survey done. Vincent Bonnet was the third party where the survey was conducted. And we found that in 2017, almost 54% organizations were attacked by ransomware. In 2020, although the number is 51%, but that does not mean that the ransomware attacks have actually reduced. Yes, fundamentally, earlier, it was kind of a philosophy of spray and pray, which means that they are blasting the mails through all remote desktops, whatever desktops are available, and they're just blasting. It was not a targeted attack in 2017. But look at in 2020, it's absolutely targeted. And malwares today are no more just, all these cyber threats which are happening. They are no more static threats, actually. They are absolutely dynamic, and they are ever changing. And any attack, people think that attack is what we need to stop. But attack is actually not the complete threat. It's just a start of it. And when the attack is supposed to happen, we really don't know. When the data gets encrypted, we don't know. And that's where we need to have a complete visibility in the network. So India Data, again, one of the third-party agency, which says that 82% of in the organizations were hit last year. Out of that, only 8% could stop. Now, there is a very, very interesting data. Almost 8.02 crore was the average remediation cost. And on top of it, there is a lot of data about cybersecurity insurance. We wanted to find out. They said, yeah, I am covered by cybersecurity insurance. So there are fine footprint notes, which normally you will get on cybersecurity insurance. What is that you covered for? Are you covered for recovering of your data? Are you covered for getting that data back? Are you covered for the ransomware which you are supposed to be paid? Sorry, that's where the big challenge starts for anyone. And what kind of ransomware which are prevalent? This is just a picture, my dear friend, which will give you, I'm going to run this, and you will find that every time it is changing, every quarter it is changing. And you look at this, Dharma, you have Raik, you have Phobos, you have Sodinokibi. So they are changing. Q2. Now the data which is going to come is slowly for Q3. Now the data which is going to come is for Q4. It's changing. And the maximum, percentage has been taken by Revil and Riot. And these are the two which were most prevalent ransomware attack in 2019. You look at another one is this one. Oh, sorry. Yeah. And another one is that when you look at the overall, if you just classify them, there are 3 types of attacks which are happening in any of the network. And these are the most prevalent ones. The first one is RDP compromise. That's where the password store, is so weak that, anyone can enter. Email phishing, another one, very, very easier way to get anyone prey for it actually. And software vulnerabilities, although people have now started patching a lot of it, so this has come down, but still it is increasing. And RDP and email are the 2 most common, attack vectors. So this is I'm just trying to run this, that in Q1 2019 and Q2 and Q3, and how these changes have happened over a period of time. This is what I try to showcase, that how RDP compromise and email phishing has been increasing and decreasing. But this combination, RDP is the maximum and the highest threat vector. Then we have email, and then we have software vulnerability. Times have changed, my dear friends. I need not to tell you, because all of you have experienced it. There was a perimeter where all of you had desktop servers and network, and you knew that this is my perimeter, and this is where I have to secure. This is where things cannot go out. People cannot take out their desktop, but there is no more perimeter now. Everyone is a remote user, being connected on VPN, taking applications, working applications through cloud, using cloud infra, using cloud applications, using cloud storage. Everything, things have dramatically changed. But do we know actually, when we move to cloud, who is responsible for cloud security? We truly we think that we have bought cloud from Amazon. That will be the responsibility of Amazon, but that's not true. It's like you buy a flat in a particular society. As far as their check in from gate 1 to check out from gate 2, there is a security at both the gates. So they will check, as to who is entering. But in terms of someone is jumping the wall and getting entry into your flat, or someone saying, well, I am going to, flat number A803, whereas he decided to go to D803. So there is a problem. So I think security is primarily a responsibility, which is a joint responsibility. And a lot of people misunderstand that and think that, okay, this is the liability which is on the cloud infra providers. IT security, unfortunately, has not kept the pace. If you look at, because of that, there is more space or so-called surface area which is available where attacks can happen, which is primarily increasing the risk. We have manual integration. We had point. No, again, I'm not blaming any one of you, because you kept on buying security solutions which are like pinpoint product solutions, but the integration is almost manual. There is no automated kind of response. There is no SyncSec which is happening. There is no threat intelligence sharing which is happening on your dashboard. There is no security score which is being shown on your dashboard, and cost has really increased. What exactly we need to do, I think, and what's this solution? How do I minimize the cost, at the same time is able to offer you a solution which is absolutely apt in today's environment? My friend, my colleague Ravi Baviskar is going to present after some time. I'm sure there is another session after us. So over to I think Atul or Ravi. I'm sorry. After this, I was told that there would be someone. So there is a.
It's okay, Sunil. Thank you so much, and I would say many thanks for sharing this inspirational story about Jadeja ji. In fact, I was not aware, and I'm sure many of us would not be knowing that. And we'll love to know more and know more stories. Now that you've shared, you love to tell these short stories. It'll be interesting to engage, and truly inspirational, I must say. And I also thank you for sharing the statistics and the realities of the state of ransomware. You spoke about the variants, the counts, and the expanse of the attack vector, which is actually overwhelming. It's an overwhelming is an understatement. It's scary, I would say, in these changing times. And I think, and you also interestingly mentioned the factual state of the IT security landscape, which is a area wherein we need to all work on, so that we sincerely hope that none of us becomes a news article for the wrong reasons. We don't,
Yes,
none of us
correct,
would ever like to have
correct,
that.
correct.
I think in that context, I would now go on for the to kickstart the Gyan Hub interaction. I would, with a brief about Sanjeev Kumar Jain ji, our dear friend. Sanjeev ji, if you can put on your video and audio, please.
Yeah.
There.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. So, just to give you a brief about Sanjeev, Sanjeev is Group CIO for Krishna Group, and he holds a bachelor's degree in science, a master's MCA, and also post graduation in computer applications. He has multiple certifications in IT domain and is also a certified IT security auditor. And no, I know that no, he has a rich, diversified experience of more than 30 years in driving IT initiatives and IT strategy. And he has implemented many of these known ERP solutions, implemented IT security solutions, BCP, and set up a lot of great infrastructure designs till so far. And he has got multiple of these recognitions in forms of the IDC awards, the IDG awards. He was in the CIO Power list, and many more. I think I can keep counting. And he has worked with companies like ABB, Shriram Piston, General Group, and Spark Minda. I think I can go on and on. Over to you, Sanjeev, so that you can take us through your digital transformation journey. Over to you, Sanjeev.
Thank you, Atul, for the description what you have given about me. Although I will not like to first of all call it as a gyan for which I'm going to give to anybody. I know my peers have more knowledge and have more experience than me, who are sitting along with me today on that thing. I'm here to share my experience, which I have got in the last 1 year, which I have joined with Krishna Maruti only last year. It is exactly 1 month, 1 year, which I have completed this month. And during this 12 months, I think the 4 months have already gone into this pandemic lockdown. And it has really taught me a lesson how exactly things have gone. I will take you to the brief about my learnings and my things, what we have done during this pandemic and what all I have about the company. So I'll start with my introduction of my company first of all. I hope my things is visible to you.
Yes.
Visible. Okay, so I work for, I'm Group CIO with the Krishna Group company. Krishna Group is automotive company, plus we have some other businesses also. It has been founded by our chairman, Mr. Ashok Kapoor. We started this business in 1985, starting the business with the steering systems and express propeller. And then in 1994, when the Maruti was coming up with the big way, he established Krishna Maruti to support them. He has been involved in guiding the whole group for the development. Mr. Sunandan Kapoor, his son, he has joined the business in 2001, and now he's driving the new initiatives of the company. He has brought the company from 25 million USD to 375 million USD over a shorter period of time. Today, we are something around $800 million company. We, as a Krishna Group, we have diversified businesses over here. We are majorly known for our auto component business. We have real estate business. We are in media, and we also are in the travel industry. These are the four big things which we really do into this, and people generally only know us about the automobile part of it, which is our major business. This is the footprint of Krishna Maruti Group. If I talk about, we have 36 plants across the India. And we have some recently plants which have been put outside India, in Germany and other places. So this is how the facilities are being divided. We are having two basic companies. One is the interior division, which is called Krishna Maruti Limited, and we have the metals division, which is called the SKH Metals. So today we are, last year we have touched 5,900 crores, and we have a target of touching of $1 billion US dollars by 2021 is just what we are targeting for this financial year. This is what is the product portfolio we have. We are basically manufacturing seats, seat covers, door trims, roof line headliners. We do majorly in toolings also. We manufacture tools for our company and outside the company also. We are into mirrors. We are doing CNG kits. And in the SKH, we're doing metal fuel tanks, frame suspensions, sheet metal parts, exhaust systems, earth moving cabinet systems, seating structures, and gear shift assemblies. These are the major automobile parts which we have been manufacturing. This is the roadmap how the company has moved along with the collaborations we have moved. So this is right from 1994 to 2018, what all JVs we have created. This is the list of it. This is a footprint of our collaborations. We have US collaborations with Magna, we have European alliances with Banter, Lenderazzo for CNG kits, Silica, Magnet Marelli, Grupo Anteno for roof liners, Hankook Metal for the tooling business. India, we have a JV partnership with Maruti, and we have some Japanese alliances, which basically are the technical part of it. This is a list of some of our major OEMs who we are dealing with. Majorly, we are doing business in KML with the Maruti part of it. We do cater to all these big names which are there in the presentation, which you are able to see. That most of the OEMs we are touching around in some way to them, providing some product to each of the guys who are using this product. This is our status of the market capture we have. In the cable system of highway vehicles, we have 60% of the business is there with us. We are doing 50% of the business for the front frame suspension. Metal fuel tank is 45% with our group. Seating is 40% because majorly we do only Maruti. So the seating is less by 40%. Plastics, we are doing 36%, the interior plastic parts for all the vehicles. We do roof headliners 36%, again mirroring 24%, and the exhaust systems is 16%. These are some of the customer awards and recognitions which we have got. We have been rated on top in the Maruti awards. This is the way, actually, the vision and mission of the organization that safety is the first thing which we want to really do. And then people, innovation, procurement, and the quality are the pillars where the organization really has a stressful thing that we need to maintain the quality, because since when automobile component manufacture, our quality really gives you the safety. Until as the quality products we are able to produce, your safety will not be there. So quality is the biggest thing which we always focus into our business and how the business is being progressing onto that particular part. This is the management approach. In the last 2 or 3 years, the organization is changing. The organization has put up the focus now on the organization is now being run by the complete professionals. The succession planning has been started because the organization is getting older and older. There are lots of old people being there with us. So now the organization is planning for the succession planning. And management information system has been brought as a main pillar into the organization now, to how to really harness the value of IT and see how the companies can grow into the business. I'll just talk about the landscape which we have in IT over here. Since the company is basically a manufacturing organization, it is always a constraint of IT expenses need to be there, because since automobile industry is always a very thin margin industry, and there is always a pressure onto the organization to cut down on the prices and things. So we have normally ERP, which is SAP ECC 6.0, and running on SOH HANA product. We have mailing solutions on Exchange and O365. We are using most of the designing software standard, industry standard software. HRIS system we have completely outsourced. Attendance systems we are using through the face recognition system. And we have something called Pika system. This is basically a guided manufacturing. I will be talking bit detail in my next slide on this particular part. Then we have Supplier Connect system and mobile apps for our HR and financial approvals. We have compliance management system, which is basically there for the online compliance tracking and escalation pattern. We have homegrown workflows for all our things, along with the DMS for data sharing, along with the complete business users. On the IoT infrastructure part of it, we have implemented SD-WAN with a dual ISP in all the plants, which are there with the MPLS and ILL as a backup for having the things running the show without any failure, because our system, if any system is down, the customer lines will be held up and we cannot have that particular issue being there. So we have built in the resiliency for all the particular parts. We have completely in-house data center as of now, and we have only the non-core applications running onto the cloud. The complete facility management services has been outsourced to the third party, and we are looking into the core applications from the internal team. The hybrid IT has been there. Very recently, we started moving on to the hybrid IT part of thing. We have core applications we have they are on the on-premise, but rest all non-core applications we have started moving in the last 1 year. We have moved non-core applications to the cloud. This is the current scenario of the organization. If I talk about the organization, we have a lot of systems in place, but every system is running into a silo by itself. We have HR system, which is a standalone system. We have Pika system, which is a standalone system. We have MIS systems, which is standalone, and the commercial application SAP system separate. So all these things are, as of now, in a silo. When I joined this organization, the vision basically is to have all systems being connected together so that we are able to really take the benefit out of this particular process. So the company basically has really invested a big way into the manufacturing setup. We have around about 150 robots being there into the organization. We have vision cameras for all visual inspection of the things that whatever the defects are there in the system. The vision cameras are being used. We have most of the machines are automated machines because we do complete PU, which is the base of the seat manufacturing. It is a completed automated system. We have injection molding machines. We have presses for tooling, and we have water jet cutters for roof lining. So all these machines have a lot of data which is being generated, and they are all automated machines. But all of these machines were running as an individual machine, and they don't have any connectivity with our current system to give any valuable input to the system. I'll come to the Pika guided system, manufacturing system, which we were talking about. This Pika system is basically, you can call it as a mini MES, which basically is required for the accurate delivery and timely delivery to our OEMs, because our OEMs runs onto a product called ABON and PBON. PBON is basically the paint body on line. Basically, when the car comes onto the paint shop, it is basically we come to know that okay, this tentatively plan comes from the manufacturer that this particular color of the car, this particular model of the car is going to be manufactured, and it is going to be there on the paint shop at that particular moment of time. And from there, when the car comes out of the system, then it comes onto the ABON system. This is assembly online. Basically, now in between the assembly and your paint shop, sometimes because of some error into the paint shop, because of some rejections, the paint bodies are being rejected or they go into a rework sort of thing. Our products are such products where we do not, the OEMs are not able to stock our system, our products for long. They have maximum inventory of 3 hours to 1 day,
not more than 1 day. They cannot have the inventory of our products. Now the system basically problem becomes is that suppose today and the product which we are manufacturing is very specific to the model and to the color of the car which is being produced. Now, in order to give this system in time and with everything in place, we have to be very accurate. Now, today, suppose a Maruti WagonR of red color is in production. We have to maintain that within the 90 minutes of time, we have to supply this red color Maruti's WagonR color seat to be delivered to the scene. If we are not able to deliver that seat within 90 minutes to them, the production line will stop. So there are huge penalties which are there to if the line stoppage is there. To manufacture that particular thing, we have to be very focused into it. So we have put up a complete system which is completely automated. The moment the detail from the Avion system reaches our plant, we download it from the ERP of the Maruti systems, and that is being taken into our ERP. And from that particular thing, we create a production plan. That production plan, now the basic problem becomes is that all these seat product types, the basic materials are just a like material. There is a minor changes into the product line items like the frame which is there. The frames will look nearly alike, but there is always a difference into the particular frame. When you are picking up the material, there are chances because the persons who are involved in picking up the material, they are laborers. They are not that educated how to differentiate that particular material. And we were having an issue of mixing of material while making a particular part of it, and then it used to reject at the line moment time. Then we started looking into a system that how we can control that particular part. In order to control that particular part, we invented a system called Pika Pika, which was in line with what Maruti is using. This particular system is that based on the bill of material, a light glows onto the store part that this particular model is going to come into the production now. So this particular material is required. So the moment a light glows onto the bin, the person picks up that particular material and it brings it onto the station. So this way we are able to really control that the mixing of the part doesn't happen and the wrong part doesn't get delivered onto the part of it, and then the wrong delivery doesn't lead to a wrong seat being manufactured or wrong part being put into a seat. So this is how the complete system of Pika Pika really works. But the basic problem was that this particular system now was totally working as a silo system, and then we were having a duplicacy of the part that, okay, whatever production confirmation or whatever traceability of this part was happening was being there only into this Pika Pika system. But with ERP, which we are using, is SAP, and there was no interrelation between these particular two things. So what we decided, we wanted to get the marriage of OT and IT being done over here. So during this period of pandemic, we had a lot of time to see that how exactly we can look into it. I think so from January onwards, I was working on this particular project, that how this system of Pika Pika can be married to our SAP ERP so that we can really take the benefit of this data being generated into Pika Pika system, and we are able to do something meaningful. And since the teams are very limited in any organization and the production analyst keeps on working for 24/7, out of the people were not able to give time to have the system integrated into it. But this pandemic gave us that opportunity. The teams which were available, we started using that team for getting this marriage done between the OT and the IT. And we connected all these Pika Pika systems into the SAP ERP things in a batch process mode of it, so that we are able to now do the auto confirmation of the material produced, whatever the rejections is happening, which part is being produced, what is the efficiency of the line, what is my OE of the line. We are able to really capture from this particular system into the ERP. So this is how we started doing the marriage between these two particular systems. So sorry. So what actually I have not put many slides over here. I just wanted to make it into more interactive session than to have it a PPT running through it. So during this lockdown period, it was basically a manufacturing automation and everything was in-house. And it was a really a nightmare, as Sunil was talking about, that IT was really, the teams were on a pressure that they have to deliver. So during this pandemic, which came, I think so it's today is a exact 7 months today that we have not handshake each other. Exactly on 23rd of March, we have gone into the lockdown, and today is 23rd of October. 7 months have passed, and we think so things were there. So this particular pandemic brought us to a standstill. The moment it happened, all of a sudden when the things went happen, we all were sitting at home, and people wanted, and it was nearly coming to a closer to the year end. People wanted to access the system immediately. Since we all were not having, the manufacturing does not have a work from home culture, and people were, some other people have not even taken their laptops with them. It was a challenge for us to how to really give the access to the people. As Sunil IT talked about, that we have to configure the VPN through our existing systems immediately. So we configured VPN on all our complete firewall systems and the SSL VPNs what we were using. We increased the number of licenses at that particular moment of time and started configuring the VPNs on all the user devices. Either it was the official device or it was the personal device. While doing this particular activity, we found that the personal devices which people were using were not even patched. There were a lot of issue of patches. The OS patches were missing. There were antiviruses were not installed on that particular part. So that was a big challenge for the IT teams to see that until unless those things are being patched properly, it can be a issue for the complete access to be given to the person. So we started putting, first we patched all the systems and then installed the antivirus in there, installed the VPN client over there, and then gave the access to all our major ERPs and all other parts. The other thing what we have to challenge which came was that government has put complete restriction that on the movement of the persons and during this process. And since we have the data center in-house, it was a big challenge for us to really manage how the lights has to be keep on the process, that the ACs are working, your VPS are working on there. So we somehow managed to bring the staff to the data center, and we stationed him for 24 cross 7 into the data center throughout the lockdown period. And that's how we manage the particular thing. During this process itself, we had a problem that we had the mailing also. Partial users were on cloud and partial 950 users were basically our in-house model of mailing. So the server went off. There was a server crash, or I should say, and we were in a fix because the mailing was one critical thing which people were using in a big way during the pandemic, and it was only the way of using the system and how getting connected to the system. So we have to migrate the 950 users to the cloud, and within 24 hours we migrated all the users on cloud, along with configuring these mails onto the user devices, whether mobile devices or your laptops and desktops. Other thing, what important thing was that we were using complete video conferencing solution, which was again in-house things that we had the video conferencing devices installed everywhere. We were not using any collaboration tool like Webex or Zoom. We immediately have to move to this collaboration tools, and in the process of implementing the things, because the communication was very important factor which we always had during this period. Our top management has to have meetings with all the people, and during this process we have town hall meetings every week with the top management involved to the users, so that they don't get in a panic mode and people will not start running from the places, because a lot of people were there. We have blue collar also who were basically rushing out towards their hometown. So that would have become an issue for us when the system opened. So what we did during this period, that we started, first of all, we conducted a lot of trainings on this collaborative tool for how to use it, because it was a new thing for most of the people. Top level guys were aware how to use this thing, but the lower category guys were not able to know and how to use it. So we have to do a lot of training to be done for this particular part. We also utilize this time for SAP training. What generally happens during the process when you are running through the production, people are not able to give time to really see what exactly the other features are available in the SAP, because SAP in this organization is there for the last 10 years. But since people get so habitual of using the daily routine job, they do not get into other features which are available. So we started giving trainings, and we could implement the complete plant maintenance module during this period, and we could explain to the complete 16 plant users how to use the plant maintenance module, what are the basic benefits of this particular thing, along with a lot of other features available into SAP module function. We also took a challenge that uh, that currently we were having the complete supplier connectivity as on a manual basis, that we were doing just sending the purchase orders to them, and we were tracking them how my deliveries are happening. Phone calls were always made for the deliveries to happen. So we implemented a supplier portal for nearly 200 suppliers during this period, where right from the MRP run, the schedule goes to the supplier, and supplier is able to see his schedules over there. What we did in this particular thing is that once the supplier gets the schedule, he is able to download the schedule from there. Exact whatever requirement is there, he has to just put the invoice details onto the thing. He can just download the invoice from his own ERP, upload onto the portal, and based on that thing, an invoice barcode is being generated, and along with the bin barcode for the material which is going to supply. The basic benefit what we got after the pandemic was that with the supplier portal put in place, we were able to really save, I would say, 4 minutes to 5 minutes on each gate entry for the material which is getting in. And the errors which were happening onto the gate entry process was brought down to one error or two errors a day, from which was really 20, 25 errors a day sort of thing, which was leading to sometimes line stoppages within our own plant. So what exactly is that doing is that since the person brings with the invoice barcode, the person at the gate only scans the barcode, and the complete gate entry happens into the SAP. And based on that particular gate entry with all the checks and balances being taken care, the person gets into the store, and from store, the gate entry basis, the GRL is being done, and the whole process will be priced. Then based on to the bin barcode, we are doing the pick and place into the stores, and we are able to take the benefit out of it. We also utilize this time for our team, IT team's knowledge upgrade, because most of the time the teams were always in the firefighting mode, but we are not able to get them time to get the knowledge upgradation done. We ask them to join certain courses so that they can upgrade their knowledge during this period, and see how really they can take the benefit and give the benefit to the organization in the same term. We also took some low-cost automation projects were taken up as we started doing this Pika Pika integration with our ERP. Most of the things were manual, as I told you that the gate entry process which we did with the supplier connect. Same way, the e-way bill process, which was totally manual, we have automated the e-way bill process completely onto the system, and the same way we could save 4 minutes per e-way bill. And I would like to just tell you that we are doing around about 300 to 400 e-way bills per day. My invoices per day is something around 600, and 300 to 400 e-way bills worked out. So that works out to be a bit nearly, we are able to save till date 500 man days if I calculate onto the e-way bill part itself. Along with that, we have converted the things that manual purchase order creations which were there, physical copies were taken. We have converted them into the PDF form so that people are able to send up purchase orders online only. They don't have to take a copy out of it. Same way, all the invoices were on the pre-printed destination. We converted them for pre-printed to A4 size things, conversion. Lot of reports were being generated during this process. We started using the ERP to dig out management information system, was rather I should say things were implemented, and we could give the reporting to the management level so that they can look into the reporting factors, the inventories, the rejections, and the start of it. And post this pandemic lockdown was over, we started using this report, and we are able to get benefit out of it, that we were able to see the inventory movement, how exactly my costing is going on, because the prices kept on changing for the products after this particular thing. So this was some things what we could do in this process. This is what I have on my presentation part of it, and now we can have an interactive session where we can talk about what exactly we would like to discuss, and we can exchange our ideas how we can take it forward.
Great. Thank you, Sanjeev ji, for sharing your insights. I would request Ashish, are you there? Maybe you can,
Yes.
if you have some questions, or if the participants have some questions, maybe you can take us through. You can have the Q&A as well.
Yes, thank you, Atul. Thanks, Sanjeev ji, for the insight. And I think you have optimally utilized the pandemic period in order to do process re-engineering, people training, and so on. I've got few questions. The first question is from Mr. Vineet Sharma. So if he can be brought on the video, please. His question is, what are the non-core applications which are being used in your setup?
Okay. If I talk about the non-core applications, is like the HR system. We are talking about the payroll processing system, which was basically in-house. What we decided that instead of having this payroll system in-house, we moved it to a third-party system. We completely outsourced the complete payroll system to the third party. Same way, your attendance monitoring system, attendance capturing system. Then we have this compliance software, which was in-house. We have moved the compliance software onto the cloud. We had certain other reports like our KRA monitoring system. We had reporting, some small reporting systems were there. So all these systems which were not that critical, we moved onto the cloud. So this is how we have decided on that, because ERP, it is not an easy job to shift the complete ERP from your in-house to outsource model. Because the basic problem I would like to tell you is that we are using IBM AI Power System, and most of the cloud vendors, they don't provide the facility of power for their online cloud system. So that was one important factor which I think, because the moment I joined, 6 months before that, they have decided to move on to the power systems, and that could not be changed immediately. So that is what we have in-house and non-core.
Okay, thank you. The next question I have is from Mr. Manoj Kumar. If he can be brought online to ask his question.
Ashish, can you be a little closer to the mic, please?
Is it any better now?
Perfect. It is perfect.
Wonderful. So the question is from Mr. Manoj Kumar. If he can be brought on video to ask his questions while he comes online. His question is, there are two questions actually. One is that why in your slide Hyundai is not part of your OEM list, and the other one is Pika Pika kind of an MES system?
Yeah, first of all, I'll say Hyundai has their own supplier system. They generally don't allow most of the Indian companies are not there. So they have the complete system which are being manufactured by their own subsidiary company. So Hyundai is very different company to really deal with. And yes, we are trying to really bring them on board also. This pandemic also has taught businesses a lesson that we really need to diversify the businesses in a big way, that like our businesses are 80% on Maruti and less on these things. So people are looking into all those options also, that how we can expand the business. Because we were so, our plates were always full to cater to these big OEMs, that we do not want to look here and there for small business. And talking about the Pika Pika system, as I said, that I would call Pika Pika system to be a mini MES system, which is not a full-blown system, but yes, we have everything being monitored onto the system right from the moment the material gets onto the conveyor. It starts get monitored from there till the finished goods is produced. Everything is being monitored through this system. Everything is being captured, how much time which particular machine has taken, what part went into it, and how this particular thing has happened, because we have, as I told you, that we have really 150 robots being used into the organization. So we are capturing all the data from this particular systems on Pika Pika.
Thank you. Manoj, I hope your question is answered. The next question I have is from Rishi. If Rishi can be brought on to ask his question while he comes online. His question is, what functionalities are being used in supplier portal?
Okay. The moment the MRP is run into SAP, the schedules automatically gets populated onto the supplier portal. Now the supplier is able to see the schedule for today and for the next 1 month as per the forecast of the MRP which has been available. He is able to deliver the material as per his delivery schedule. That means maximum, in most of the cases, the delivery cannot be more 24 hours before. If a material is due for today, he can only supply me the material for today. He cannot supply the material of tomorrow today. If there is a shortage of material which he has supplied in the past 2 days, he is able to supply you that particular part. Along with that, he is able to do me the advanced shipment notification. He can generate over there. He is able to see the any rejections which is happening in the thing, any shortages which is happening is immediately reflected onto the portal. Any communication which is happening between the supplier and the purchaser over here, these guys can do interaction over there. We are putting all our policies related to suppliers onto this portal. We are able to give them the status of the payment, the checks, etc., the invoices, reconciliation happens onto this particular portal. And along with that, what we are planning in the future is that we'll do the complete quality rating and all other related stuff to the vendor to be put on this particular portal.
Okay, thank you. I hope that answers Rishi your question. If you have a follow-up question, you can pose that. The next question I have is from Manzar Abbas. Manzar says, Sanjeevji, thank you for the grant. Can you please share OT security and interface with SAP and its security?
What as of now we have done, we have not opened this system to outside world. This is totally purely on MPLS system within the organization itself, and we have put complete restrictions for the user's data interfaces. So we're not taking anything directly from these machines into SAP. We are just bringing the data from these servers, these machines to a FTP server. We are through a controlled mechanism in a batch mode using the SAP named user process. We connect this system, we pick up the data from this FTP server by the named user, and then we post it into the SAP. So currently, nothing major if I talk about that we have put onto security, but we have not put everything online so that the systems become vulnerable to any sort of issues relating to security. But yeah, we are already in the process of discussion with a lot of vendors how the OT security can be put into place, because now we are planning to, we are in the process of putting up a management dashboard for my shop floor monitoring. Since top management as of now is sitting, they are at home, and they really want to see what actually is happening into the MIS part into the organization, which machine is working, which machine is down, what is my plant productivity. So for that, the systems we are already development is going on, and we are expecting by January we should be in a position to have the operational MIS also be available onto the mobile apps. So for that purpose, we are already in discussion with a lot of vendors for putting up the OT security also along with the IT security. But currently, it is all being controlled through the mapping of netting of the IP, so that those doesn't become vulnerable to the.
Okay, thank you. The next question I have is from Mr. Amit Kumar. His question is, he needs more information on Pika Pika system. Amit ji, I think a lot of information has been given by Sanjeev ji already, but if you can.
You can get in touch with me one-to-one. We can discuss on this
Yes.
thing because
Yes.
it is a homegrown system which has been developed for us specifically. So we can give you information.
Right. The next question we have is from Mr. Dinesh Kaushik. Is e-invoice directly linked with GST portal or used through some GST service provider? How much time to
So,
take, upload, and revert for IRA number?
okay. We have connected the e-invoicing directly using a GST only. In between, we have taken two GSTs for connecting our e-invoicing portal. At the time maximum taken is something around 50 to 60 seconds for getting the complete data being sent to the portal and getting the acknowledgement back into the invoice. So this is how we are doing, and I think so we are doing 600 invoices per day through the portal, and we started this thing somewhere in the month of September. 25th September, we went live with the e-invoicing portal and the e-way corrections, which were done based on the IRN number. So this is how we are doing. It is not, we have not taken a SAP solution, we have got a customized solution for us being developed by a third party.
I think we are running out of time. I'll just take one last question, which is from Rishi. Were suppliers uploading their invoices after job completion in supplier portal?
We have given that facility of uploading the invoices onto the portal, but for us, that supplier loading his invoice onto the portal doesn't really make a big difference because we are getting the invoice barcode generated from the vendor. He has to put that supplier sticker onto the invoice, and once the hard copy reaches our main gate, we just scan that barcode, and based on that particular thing, the complete entry of the system is. Because we could not connect the SAP directly with the third-party system because we have compliance issues, so we are not connecting anything outside SAP to SAP directly.
Okay. And just one last question from my friend, Mr. Vivek Ahuja. His question is, Sanjeev ji, for your internal systems, how do you ensure security at applications database level from internal threats?
What we have done that we have, as per the, I think most of us are doing the IT policies are being done. We are conducting internal audits. Also, we have some external audits being conducted by the auditors to their things. We are monitoring ourselves also that no access is being given to anybody except the IT person. And we also keep a log monitoring that who all has logged into the ERP servers or because as you said that like payroll we have already also, so we have a complete tracking over that nobody is doing. But for the ERP, it is there with that completely as of now with the IT team only. But we have a process in place to review the logs that who has tried to get into the access of the things, and complete segregation of duties has been declared and being implemented into SAP and all of that.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sanjeev ji, for patiently answering all the questions. One request to the Sophos team. There's a lot of requests for the presentation which was shared earlier. If that can be shared with us, we'll share it with the fellow CIO friends. With that, back to Atul.
Thank you very much for CIO Club to really give me the option to interact with the team.
Thank you. Thank you, Sanjeev ji. And I think one topic which has created so much events, so much of interest was Pika Pika. And we all look forward to hear and learn more about this. What I could figure out is it's a variation of Poka Yoke or something of that sort. It's a variation and a term coined by Maruti, maybe for
it's a Maruti. It's a Maruti. Pika Pika is a Maruti term which has been configured because it's a JV partner for us. So we use the same common term so that we are
correct. Great. Thank
you. Sanjeev, you mentioned that you are using robots in your production plan. So once this pandemic is over, we can also plan a visit of CIOs to your plant so that they can actually see how those robots are working and how you're actually doing this.
Sure.
Typically, we do these GRF sessions with the CIO in their plant and all those things. Because of this pandemic, we are doing it virtually. So once that is over, we can plan a visit to your plant.
Positively.
Thank you very much from CIOs of India for this interesting GyanHub session. at least since I come from a shop floor background, I could understand a lot of things from your OT to IT, and you have used this lockdown period fantastically with your team. Hope we can meet someday with your team and pat them also
Sure.
in presence of you. Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks everybody for listening questions.
Great. I think moving on, I think we spoke about the challenges around ransomware before Sanjeev presented his experiences. Now let's talk about solutioning. So I would request Ravi Bhaviskar from Sophos to take us through the solutioning part and maybe guide us how do we protect ourselves from these ransomwares of sorts. Yeah, go on, Ravi.
All right, so thanks a lot. I'll just need a couple of checks before I start whether my screen is visible and I'm audible.
Yes. You are audible.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks a lot for the confirmation. So hello everyone, my name is Ravindra Bhaviskar and I'm working as a Director Sales Engineering here at Sophos. Sunil sir talked about the challenges we all are facing about the ransomware attacks today. And now I want to quickly show you how to leverage Sophos' approach of cybersecurity evolved to protect you from ransomware attacks, or to that matter, any kind of cyber attack, right? Ransomware is just a payload, right? And we often talk about ransomware, what they do, how they come in your network. But if you're wondering how exactly the ransomware attack happens, my next slide will give you better idea and better clarity, right? Just to give you a thumbs up, guys, we have a Kahoot quiz after this based on Sunil sir's presentation and my presentation. So pay attention to it. You will get chance to win exciting prizes as well. So moving along, how exactly ransomware attacks happen? So typically, the ransomware attacks are highly complex. If you look at the screen or attack kill chain on your screen, they often starts with a spam email containing a malicious attachment or a malicious link, a phishing attack. Right? They may phish for a credential, or they may use some sort of malware to steal your credential. Now, once they have those credentials, they will escalate their privilege to create a new admin account so that they can have better access to the systems or the infrastructure, or even option to disable or some kind of bypass your security in case there is any. Right? So they will start to privilege their escalation. Now they can move laterally around the network using RDP, using inbuilt tool available on the network, and that is why attacker call it as a hands on a keyboard or living off the LAN, because we have such a powerful tools available on the desktop operating system or the server operating system itself in the form of RDP, PowerShell, task scheduler. They can make use of it, leverages, and take advantage of it to traverse across the network or any sort of thing. Let's say Active Directory, they will find the storage system, they will delete the backup, and once all these things are done, right, they will finally copy the important critical data onto the cloud before finally releasing the ransomware payload, which will simply encrypt your entire file system and demanding a huge payment from you. Right? And why I'm trying to say show you this is you can stop this attack, right? We are talking about ransomware at the second last stage, but then you can stop this attack at various stage of an attack kill chain, and your solution should have a layered approach to protect you from such kind of attack, right? And that's why I said ransomware is just a payload. It can be any cyber attack. And that is the only reason we are right now coming up with a series called Be the Hacker to Beat the Hacker. Now, how do you protect yourself? Through firewall, through endpoint protection. Well, I'm going to talk about both today, but then we have bucket of a solution as an company, security company. But due to the time restrictions, I'll talk about only two products right now, is firewall and the endpoint, and in the subsequent session I'll talk about other solutions as well, but then in a unique way or manner. So what are the best practices, or I would say network based practices, to prevent ransomware attack? So I'm not talking about any firewall solution, it is a generic solution I'm talking about, right? So these are the 5 key best practices you should implement as soon as possible that will greatly reduce the risk your organizations of falling victim to a ransomware attack. First and foremost, let's have a best and breed protection at gateway level or a network level. It should be at gateway level and endpoint level both, but then this slide specifically talks about the gateway level. So you must have a firewall with machine learning algorithm, with sandboxing capabilities, which can detect this zero-day attack. You must have a DPI engine. You must do SSL inspection, because as per Google, 80% of traffic is HTTPS or encrypted one. If you are not doing SSL inspection, that means you are simply allowing this 80% of traffic without even checking it. You must have an email solution in firewall as a bundle, which can do anti-spam and anti-phishing capabilities, right? You must reduce the attack surface. Why I'm telling you this is because you have a firewall, but if you are not optimally using it, like just to give you example, opening a RDP port, like Sunil sir showed in his presentation, the maximum attack vectors was RDP and an email, right? If you're not strengthened your email policy on your firewall, or if you have open RDP port publicly, expose RDP port publicly, then you are inviting a trouble, right? So these attack surface has to be reduced by creating a stringent policy on your firewall. Then even if you want to have a remote access, like Sanjeev ji talked about, you should have it using a VPN, right? VPN in the form of IPsec and SSL. And not to forget that even VPN can get compromised, or VPN credentials can get compromised, and they can act as a legitimate user and come inside your network. Try to use multi-factor authentication, right? So VPN allows you to have multi-factor authentication. Use MFA wherever it could be possible. And then try to prevent lateral movement. When I say once they comes to your network, they will try to spread across the network, right? So that they can grab the critical information. So how you can identify a compromised endpoint and stop that endpoint for communicating other endpoints, so that that infection does not spread across. Classical example of COVID situation today, and what government used to do when they used to find a COVID positive patient, they used to isolate him from rest of the people, so that the infection does not pass on to the healthy people, right? Moving along. So how Sophos can help you? To be honest, to achieve all this, which I talked about on my last slide, we can certainly help. And if you're interested in equipping your organization with best protection possible against ransomware, be sure to look at XG Firewall, Sophos next generation XG Firewall. It offers you the world's best visibility, protection, and response to ransomware attack. Not only ransomware attacks, even any kind of zero-day attack using sandboxing technology, anti-phishing, anti-email protection, email protection capabilities. And apart from protecting ransomware and other threats, our recently launched SFOS version 18 gives you visibility into encrypted traffic as well. That is SSL inspection. Most of the people complained about SSL inspection. Moment they turn on SSL inspection, they say there is a performance degrade. And that is where Sophos XG Firewall version 18 comes up with TLS 1.3 support and a fast path technology. So moment with initial checks, we trust the traffic, we move on to a fast path. Until we trust that traffic, we will keep doing this DPI engine check for all the traffic, be it HTTP or be it HTTPS. Not only that, we have also enhanced our SD-WAN capabilities for your business critical application performance in our version 18, XG Firewall version 18. So this is all about firewall. Now, I'm not going into the detail of the firewall because it could take me 2 days to talk about what features XG Firewall has. But then treat this firewall as just as a security guard at a bank gate, checking everyone coming and going out of the bank, right? That is what firewall does, a job of the firewall, right? Now, how about the endpoint protection, right? So these are the critical component of any security, or these are the basics of any organization's security or infrastructure security, firewall and the endpoint. So Sophos can help you with both protection, detection, and response on endpoint as well. Now, as far as protection side is concerned, our Intercept X is an award-winning, market-leading security solution available for endpoint, server, and mobile devices as well. It has been recognized by Gartner, NSS Lab, SE Labs, MRG IFITAS, name any, for its best protection capabilities. It stops ransomware from installing at first place in a kill chain, right? And with its signature based and signature less capabilities as well. So here I'm talking about a suite where people talk about a traditional antivirus, then people talk about a next generation antivirus. Traditional is all about signature based, next gen is all about signature less. Then people talk about EDR now, and then people talk about MTR as well. I'll touch to that point as well. So signature based and signature less both are available in our Intercept X agent. So it stops ransomware with its both the capabilities. Not only that, it also prevents ransomware from encrypting the file. Does it manage to get inside? So blocking the entry of the malware or the attacker is one, and once it is inside, it will prevent business critical files from getting encrypted using our CryptoGuard technology, right? So it detects all the malicious encryption happening, stops it, takes the backup, restore it on the fly, and notify you that this is the malicious process trying to encrypt that particular file on the network. Now, when it comes to detection, right, this is all about prevention. And why people are more focusing on EDR, because I'll tell you one thing, prevention is something where attacker just needs to succeeds one, and security solution has to be blocking them all the time, right? Once he is in, then attacker has to do n number of things on your network or the endpoint where endpoint can detect, and that is why people are more paying attention to the EDR now, right? But then prevention does play an important role. Why to get them inside at first place rather than detecting them or malicious activity? They might have done a damage to your network by now, but then yeah, both the things play very important role. Now coming back to the detection and response, right, there are two options now. Now if you want to manage it by yourself, our EDR, the AI driven EDR, that is endpoint detection technology, now it gives you a built-in option of threat hunting and the IT hunting capabilities, which is getting lots of praise from all our Intercept X with EDR customer. Now what you can do is it gives you the visibility of all the suspicious activity, how it came, which endpoints it attacked to, what changes it tried to do, right, and what next course of action you want to take. But this is something when you want to do it, right? Your team is paying attention to all the alerts that Sophos Central is throwing at you. But then in case your team is occupied with a lot of other IT stuff, they don't have time, or they need some hand holding, then the alternative option is we can manage it for you along with our managed threat response team. Now, if you're wondering what is managed threat response team or the MTR team, with Sophos MTR, your IT team is paired with the elite team of the Sophos threat hunters, which will proactively look for any potential threats. They will validate threats, and if any malicious activity is found, they will get in touch with you to remediate and neutralize that particular threat. So it is about us. If you want us to do it, then MTR is a service. And the best part is all these things is available as a single agent. Now, if you go to the market, there is a traditional antivirus, a separate agent, next generation antivirus, there is a separate agent, dedicated EDR players, there is a separate agent, right? And on top of you, if you took a MTR service, they might have a one more agent, right? But with Intercept X EDR MTR as a suite, you have a single agent taking care of all those things. Life of a IT administrator and a security administrator becomes very, very easy. Now, we talked about firewall as a security guard at gateway or the gate of the bank. Now treat endpoint as a security guard inside the bank, watching all those abnormal activity happening on a bank, maybe a camera, right? And somebody is watching that camera or the activity through a control center. Now, even if you have best of breed solutions now, like Sophos XG Firewall and Intercept X, which is best of breed at their respective category, but if they are not talking to each other, I heard Sanjeevji talking about product in silos, people working in silos, technology working in silos, and that is exactly what I'm trying to say here. So synchronized security is our innovation, right? And what exactly synchronized security does, I don't need to tell you the importance of synchronized security. Sunil sir talked about cricket, Ravindra Jadeja. Synchronization requires in cricket as well. If both the batsmen are not synchronized with each other, there are high chances of getting run out as well, right? So talking about the synchronized security with our both solutions, next generation XG firewall, next generation endpoint. As I said, they are the best of breed solutions available in their respective segment, but our innovation of synchronized security made them to talk to each other using security heartbeat and share threat intelligence with each other. And both of these products can be managed through our cloud management platform called Sophos Central, right? And since they are managed through a single console, they are talking to each other, they are sharing threat intelligence with each other, we can isolate any endpoint automatically moment it is doing some suspicious activity. No manual intervention required. So moment we find endpoint is been affected, infected, or doing some suspicious activity, we will simply isolate that endpoint from the rest of the network so that that infection is not spreading across the network, right? And this is the most important aspect for people talked about zero trust. Zero trust talks about trust nothing, verify everything, create a boundary around the endpoint, create a boundary around the application. So this is what the synchronized security can or is giving you rather, right? And not only that, synchronized security have lots other benefits as well. One of them is synchronized app control. People are struggling to block applications. There are homegrown native applications, there are standard applications, people making use of some application to bypass endpoint and the firewall security. And not every firewall has signature for all the application, right? Like say XG firewall, we have signature around 3,500 application signatures. But then with synchronized security, firewall can ask endpoint, can you give me all those applications installed on the endpoint? Here are those, then you can block it on firewall, even though firewall doesn't have signature for. So these are the two great advantage of synchronized security. There are many, but then we'll talk about that later on. But this is all about the synchronized security. Now, how synchronized security will help you to block the ransomware attack. Now, we talked about this typical attack kill chain, right? And when we talk about synchronized security, it is a cyber security as a system. Now, why we say cyber security as a system? Because attackers are working in coordination. Attacks are working in coordination. They are very targeted attack. They are observing you, what kind of sites users are accessing to, what is the company profile, right? And all these informations are available publicly, and that is what the first stage any attack is, right? The information gathering, social engineering, right? So and they make use of all those techniques. But then system, and that is what the synchronized security gives you. So we talked about XG firewall, we talked about intercept X as well. And with synchronized security, it is not a product, it is a feature which you will get by default once you have both of these products, because both of them can be managed through a Sophos Central management platform so that they can synchronize with each other. So intercept X will I'll start with firewall. So sending a spam mail, because attackers comes through a malicious email or through a RDP. XG firewall, you can block all those RDP ports. You can apply IPS policy so that those ports cannot be compromised using the port vulnerabilities. Then we do have intercept X to protect you from any malicious payload getting dropped onto the system. So with intercept X, it can stop you from email exploit. If somebody is trying to steal credential, the credential theft exploit can be triggered and be stopped. Anyone try to do privilege escalation, this advisory will be triggered and it will notify that somebody is trying to privilege the escalation. The user was having normal rights and it is trying to get the administrator rights. Just block it and trigger the escalation or the notification on your central board, right? And all these things like tamper protection will help you to prevent attacker from disabling the endpoint functionality, right? So all these features in tandem can protect you from any kind of ransomware attack, be it known, be it unknown. So I would say not only a ransomware attack, any kind of cyber threats you are talking about. And that is how the synchronized security is more powerful. Now, as I said, we have many products, but then due to time limitation, maybe we'll cover those products afterwards. But then Sophos can help you to secure your entire ecosystem. So again, Sanjeevji talked about the server got crashed, then all of a sudden they have to took a decision to move on to the cloud. And because of this pandemic, most of the customers have moved on to O365 or onto Azure or Amazon or any cloud platform they feel they are compatible with, right? And even the digital transformation has helped cloud adoption rapidly. Now, no matter where your infrastructure is, whether it is a on-premise solution, we can protect your endpoint, we can protect your server, and we can protect your network using XG Firewall, InterceptX Advanced with EDR for endpoint and server. Now, if you're wondering, you have moved your infrastructure onto the cloud, be it on Azure, Google, or AWS, we can protect your servers, endpoints, right, with InterceptX EDR, the same agent again, right? So half of the system is on-premise, half of the system is on cloud, doesn't matter, we can protect both of them, right? And on top of it, all these things can be managed through a single management console, that is Sophos Central. Again, if you want to have a visibility of your cloud assets, we have Cloud Optics as well. We'll talk about Cloud Optics in our next series, which we are supposed to conduct. If you are roaming users, we have mobile device management for BOID kind of scenario when you are asking user devices to connect to your corporate infrastructure. Talk about remote users, the synchronized security is applicable for VPN user as well. So even if they are on they have taken their laptop or desktop at home, right, where suppose agent is sitting and they might be downloading some Netflix, watching some unwanted sites through their local internet, and their endpoints become malicious, that endpoint will not be able to connect to your corporate network even though he has a valid credentials, because his status is not healthy as per the synchronized security. So that is where the Sophos cyber security as a system, synchronized security, can help you to secure your entire ecosystem. That's all from my side, and I'll be talking more. If you have any questions, I'm free to take that, and we'll be talking in detail about all these products and in our subsequent sessions as well. So I'm sure Sudhanshu was there who might have answered the questions, but in case any questions, I'll be most happy to answer it live.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ravi. I love the energy with which you speak about the entire solution. I've got few questions for you. The first one is from Prakash Kumar Ranjan. His question is, how does Sophos bridge gaps if I have different firewall vendor and Sophos endpoint, or vice versa?
Okay, I wish we could do that, because everything works. I mean, we could do that, honestly speaking, but no third-party vendor will be able to give you the threat intelligence of their firewall, maybe in terms of the API, REST API, or the internal information about the architecture. And that is limiting to have this synchronized security feature on other vendors. But then talking about Sophos, right, we are talking about XG Firewall, which has been acknowledged by Gartner, a best of breed product in a network segment, acknowledged by Gartner NSS Lab. Talking about InterceptX, again the best of breed product in endpoint protection, competing with all the vendors in Gartner's leader quadrant. So we are talking about two best products talking to each other, and that can help you a lot. With third party, and unfortunately, no, until unless they are ready to share some kind of threat intelligence with each other.
I completely understand, and that's the biggest agony all of us we have when we choose products.
Yeah, and that is why, so that is where Sophos makes a value addition. Now, if you talk about security portfolio of Sophos, we have product to secure at every stages of the infrastructure: gateway, server, endpoint, access point, mobile device management, cloud infrastructure, and on top of it, even if you don't have team to analyze all those things, the MTR as a service.
Yes, I saw that, and you even have an MDM solution from that perspective. Just a question, from my side, do you have the facility if the client who is connecting in, if he is not as per the desired baseline, does it put those people into a staging area until they get updated and then only connect to the network?
It can be achieved in a different way. When I say synchronized security is applicable for local network and the public network as well. When I say local network, moment I see an endpoint agent, sees that endpoint health status is yellow, red, or green. Green is a healthy endpoint. Yellow is some kind of PUA or malicious or any PUA potential unwanted application in the form of keygen downloaded. Red is something that active malware is trying to do anything, right? Depending on the health status, firewall will take the action whatever rules you have set. For yellow, isolate the endpoint, so it will not be able to, or rest of the endpoints will not be able to communicate to this particular endpoint. Now this endpoint moves out of your network and trying to connect to your corporate network using a VPN. Now he has an authorized username password, right? But then still his health status is yellow or red. The firewall will not be able to connect him to the corporate network using VPN till the time it becomes green, right? Endpoint will ensure that it becomes green immediately by some remediation steps. But there are certain infections which goes to a path where endpoint cannot touch, right? That is where it will throw you a message that manual cleanup is required, and administrator needs to go and check that endpoint and clean that infection. And that a moment we clean that, it becomes green again, and it will be allowed to connect to the corporate network. So it is about trusting no one, even if he has anything malicious or suspicious installed on the system.
I think, Ashish, in the
Wonderful.
interest of time, maybe we can take the other questions in the subsequent session, and maybe we can now move on to the other category. You know, we were speaking about this these Amazon vouchers to be given as a part of the quiz. I think let's do that.
Yeah, I think
yes, we can do that. I think everybody has been waiting for that.
right. And the only reason, that's what I thought. Sudhanshu might be there in the panelist list, so that he could have took these questions live.
Why he is not there in panelist list? Next time we will take care about that.
Okay, we can have that, so that we parallelly while I'm presenting, he can answer my maximum.
No
questions.
worries. Next time we will take.
Okay, so I'll just share my screen again, because as I said, there will be an interesting Kahoot quiz we have for CIOs based on our question. It's a fun game, to be honest. In case you are not familiar with Kahoot quiz, it is just open your mobile browser, type in kahoot.it quickly. So in the interest of the time, type in kahoot.it on your mobile browser, and I'm sharing my screen now. Naveen, I'll just need your confirmation whether you are able to see my Kahoot screen.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, I'll just start. Okay, meanwhile, type in kahoot.it from your mobile browser. It will ask you for a game pin and followed by your name. All right, so game pin is on your screen now. It is 9653206. I can see CIO started logging in. It's a fun game. It's a learning plus fun game. It's like an KBC. So just to give you the glimpse of it, you will be getting question and the options in the form of color and shapes on your computer screen or a desktop screen, and you have to choose correct answer in the form of color and shape on your mobile device, right? It is all about giving correct answer, not only correct but the fastest one. So even if two people are giving it correct, the faster one will get more points, and end of the Kahoot quiz, the top 3 winners will get the exciting Amazon vouchers.
I just have one request, from all the participant people who are joining, if they can put their complete name as, display name, so that it is easier for us to recognize you.
Yes, I think I forgot to mention that, but yeah, put your proper name so that we can recognize you. You have a chance. You can just log in and log out again to the Kahoot platform. We'll wait for a couple of more minutes.
I can see some 32 people already logged in.
Yep. Let me know when I should start, then I'll start.
Let's give a minute or so for people to change their name. I can see AKB, UK, MT. Request you to log out and sign in again.
So that is one drawback of having this name, because identity theft. If AKB wins somewhere, somebody can claim that I was that AKB.
Yes.
And that is classical example of an identity theft. So
and that somebody claiming is me. So I will claim for sure.
So that's the irony of internet. Internet is something, what you say is what you are. It is far away from the actual identity.
Absolutely. Okay, I can see again the number reaching to 31, 32, which was our
I think we
original
can
number.
start now.
All right, so let me start my Kahoot quiz. So here we go. So CIS of India, here is the Kahoot quiz. We have almost 7 questions today, and question number 1 on your screen. According to survey, what percentage of respondent were got hit by ransomware? It was on Sunil sir's slide. It was the first slide, if I can recollect. In 2020 specifically, and the correct answer is 51. I think no. In 2017 it was 54, and 2020 it was 51, and that gap is because of the targeted attacks on the servers into 2020. Moving on, let's see the scoreboard. And here we have the scoreboard. So Kiran is on top, followed by SK with the mobile number, I assume, Manoj, Navneet, and Manzar Abbas. So these are the top 5 on the chart right now, but this can get changed very quickly with one question. So be on your toes, and moving on to the next question. Which was the most prevalent ransomware variant of 2019? That chart was changing very fast based on Q1, Q2, Q3 data, and eventually one ransomware variant turned out to be on top. And it is a Sodino Kiwi, or the another name of Sodino Kiwi is Revil. So Revil was the most prevalent ransomware variant in 2019. Let's see the scoreboard. Kiranji has stick to his position number 1, but I can see there are changes. As I said, Manzarji has jumped on to position number 2, followed by Sanjayji, Kamalji, and Manojji. So moving on to the next question, question number 3 on your screen. Which was the most common ransomware attack vector of 2019? Attack vector, how they came inside your network, organization's network. Was it an email, RDP, software vulnerability, or USB?
I'm expecting 100%. Oh, 21.
Yeah, so more or less people got confused between email and RDP. It was RDP, and why RDP? Because once you got credentials, they search out for an RDP sessions, and in case you're not aware about it, Shodan is a global search engine where you will get the list of devices connected over the internet and what ports are open. And mind you, there are free subscriptions available as well for Shodan site. So that is why RDP is becoming more critical now. All right, moving on to the scoreboard. Again, the changes. Kamalji was on fire, 3 correct answer on straight, but then Kiranji has sticking to position number 1, followed by Kamalji, Sanjayji, Manojji, and Vikasji. So top 3 winners will get exciting prizes. Try to be on top 3 list. Question number 4 on your screen. Which Sophos gateway solution provides complete visibility, protection, response, and SD-WAN capabilities? Is it Cloud Optics? Is it Sophos next generation XG firewall? Is it next generation endpoint in the form of InterceptX or EDR? It's a pretty easy one if you read question carefully. And yeah, most of you 13 people gave it right. XG firewall, it was a gateway solution. Rest all solution, if you talk about EDR, InterceptX is the endpoint solution, and specifically the SD-WAN itself is a hint for XG firewall. So yeah, XG firewall gives you visibility, protection, response, and SD-WAN capability. The scoreboard. Kiranji and Kamalji on position number 2, followed by Navneet, Vikas, and Sanjayji on 3rd, 4th, and 5th position. Next question. Question number 5. Which solution provides you protection against ransomware with its signature-less capabilities? So in each way, we talked about only 2 products during today's session. So it will be very easy for you, and I expect most of you to give it right answer. Yeah, most of you gave it right. Intercept X is the solution which has a signature-less capabilities to block ransomware using CryptoGuard, exploit prevention, and other capabilities as well. So moving on to the scoreboard again. Kiranji and Kamlesh ji is not willing to leave their position number 1 and 2, followed by Sanjay ji, Nataraj ji, and Navneet ji. So moving on to the second last question. What is the name of the cloud management platform to manage Sophos next generation solution? So whatever solutions which we have, which is a single or cloud management platform to manage all these solutions. And the correct answer is Sophos Central. Most of you got it right. So 31 CIOs got it right. So it is Sophos Central. It managed XG Firewall Central, MDM, email solution, access point, email gateway as well. So moving on.
This is the popularity of Sophos Central.
Sophos Central, yeah. And it is kind of an SIEM solution for you because all these products are managed through a single management platform so that you can correlate the logs happening across all the products implemented in your network. So the scoreboard, Kiranji, Kamalji, Sanjayji, and Natarajji. So I think Kiranji, Kamalji, Sanjayji, you have a good chance to be on top 3, and Natarajji and Navneetji, you have good chance to replace them from top 3. So the last chance to be on top 3. Which Sophos innovations helps you to isolate infected computers from network? Is it synchronized security? Is it MTR? Is it EDR? Or is it security heartbeat? Like Sophos Central, I expect most of you to give it right this one as well. Not exactly. Synchronized security is the correct answer. 8 CIO gave it right. People who gave answer as a security heartbeat. In fact, synchronized security allows these products, Sophos next generation products, to talk to each other using a security heartbeat. So security heartbeat is communication, and synchronized security is the way to isolate the infected computer. So let's see the winners now. Here we go. On number 3rd position, we have Kamal Karnatakji. Kamalji, then we have on 2nd position, we have Manojji.
Oh, it's a surprise one for Manoj side.
And on position number 1, we have Kiranji. So congratulations, Kiran, Manoj, and Kamalji. I think the CIO India group might be having their email address details. So you can share it with Mehul or Naveen so that we can share the respective vouchers with them.
Ravi, you have to download the complete report Excel.
Yeah, I'll share that after.
Share with me. I'll pass on to CIO Club management, so they will pass on the Amazon voucher to the respective winners.
Sure, I'll do that after this.
Yeah.
Perfect. I think we had a great evening and look forward for another round of engagement with the Sophos team when we catch up for the next round of Gyan Hub. I think CIOs have taken a lot of clues, a lot of inputs on how to protect their network. In the next program, what we would request is if you can maybe create a working model of how a ransomware attack happens. You've shown the slide so that we can and then talk about at each stage what exactly needs to be done so that it becomes far more interesting. It was quite interesting today, but just to create more interest in the subsequent sessions, let's do something more different and in a greater detail. Great, thank you so much. Anything, Kamal, you would like to add before we conclude?
I would like to thank all the people who joined in today from CIO's community. And I would like to thank Sophos for this interesting session. And a special thanks to our fellow friend Sanjeev Jain for interesting Gyan Hub session where we understood about OT security, IT security. And as he promised, we would also do a plant tour with Sanjeev Jain once things get settled. So thank you very much for all the people. Thank you very much for CIS of India EC team. Thanks to Atul, Ashish, Naresh, and all the people who work for making this session successful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, CIO team and the CIO Club. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think before we conclude, it is CIOs of India, so that no, we are not a club or something. So
Okay.
we believe in creating value. So,
No worries.
we take pride in saying we are CIOs of India.
That's
Thank
it.
you. Thank you,
Okay,
Naveen.
thank you.
Thank you, team.
Thank